Hey, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second webinar of the European Education Month of 2026. This four-webinar series that is being organized by the Education and Leadership Network Europe, ELNE. I think at this point, you might already know us pretty well if you're here. Last week, we had our opening ceremony of the month, and we reflected on the growing importance of collaborative leadership as a policy priority. We also discussed what ELNE as a network is doing and can do, and what you can do to support us to strengthen collaborative leadership across Europe in the policy side. We had the opportunity to discuss with a representative of the European Commission as well from the DG of Education and Culture, who emphasized that collaborative leadership not only could and should be a European policy priority, but that it already is. Sometimes it's present under different names, such as whole schooling approach, participatory governance or distributed leadership, but it is already present in many educational ecosystems across Europe. So this is what we want to talk about today. We want to move away, or rather to link policy with practice and to see actual examples of what this collaborative leadership really looks like. Earlier this week, we published the 7th edition of our ELNE journal. This year, it has 30 inspiring showcases featured in there. There's good practices and there's research insights as well. And all of these show us how collaboration between teachers, students, school leaders, researchers, parents, members of the community can transform educational environments. So today we will be as lucky as to hear more in depth about 4 of those examples from Ireland, from Italy, from Turkey, and from Hungary. But I do encourage you all to go check out our ELNE journal and see all of these different and diverse examples that we have collected. I will keep this very short because it's not me that we should be hearing from, but our actual practitioners. But before I give the floor to the inspiring showcases, I'm very pleased to introduce to you Eija Hanhimäki, who is our senior lecturer from the Institute of Education and Leadership at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland, and also the chair of the ELNE Research Committee. She will tell you a little bit more about it, but the research committee is really a key body in the ELNE network who does amazing work at safeguarding the academic quality of the publications that we put out and all the work that we do. And especially in relation to all of these applications that we have received for the inspiring showcases. They have been the ones that have evaluated them and also that have already extracted some findings in relation to the research question that we are chasing, which is what does collaborative leadership look like in practice for different stakeholders and different sectors. So Eija, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And I also try to keep this short because the main thing is to give time and space for our excellent presenters today. But as an introduction for this webinar, I will tell you briefly about the background and process behind the ELNE Journal number 7. So what we actually do was that in this year's ELNE calls for proposals, we invited submissions under the theme Contextualizing Collaborative Leadership Across Europe, Stakeholder Perspectives. And the focus of the calls was participatory culture in educational institutions. So with the help of this focus, we can explore how diverse stakeholders co-create more inclusive and participatory learning environments. As a result, we received altogether 35 submissions for inspiring practices and research summaries. And we really would like to thank you for these excellent applications. And we've been so happy about this big amount of these applications. And we have to say that we have really found something special when we are drawing together the picture of collaborative leadership. So what did we learn? First, we considered with whose voices collaborative leadership was presented. And most often, they were principals or vice principals, teachers or researchers. When we look at the context where they work, the biggest group came from primary or secondary schools. Second, we also gathered information what voices were represented, and students were the most often mentioned group. Other big groups were teachers, leaders, and families. Third, we considered what kind of information about collaborative leadership these applications gave. And actually, nearly half of these inspiring practices described collaborative leadership when supporting children or students, for example, their learning or well-being. Some inspiring practices focused on the professional development of leaders and teachers. There were also some inspiring practices which developed teachers' collaboration or focused on collaboration between different stakeholder groups. Many principals and other leaders emphasized how collaborative leadership exists when the actors collectively define the challenge, then they share responsibilities and values, and finally contribute to decision making. Teachers and other educational staff described shared roles, students and other groups' active participation, and the perspective of the whole community. So what next? We still need more information about collaborative leadership from different educational sectors, for example, from early childhood education and adult education. In addition, we would like to hear more the voices of students, parents and families, policymakers, and working life organizations. It's also important to gather information geographically across Europe. We warmly encourage you to look at the ELNE Journal number 7. It's full of beautiful, inspiring practices and interesting research summaries. It's also a space and possibility for learning and comparison. It's also a chance to create something new, maybe by contacting the authors of inspiring practices or research summaries. Perhaps you create a webinar together or a meeting. Everything is possible. Collaborative leadership is about collaboration in many ways, and it happens between people and communities. Based on these data, we can say that collaborative leadership is not a single model of leadership, but a shared commitment to collaboration. Today, we will hear about some inspiring examples, so let's learn together and let's build leadership together in collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eija, and to the whole research committee. I think some of the members are here today for all the work that you've put on evaluating these practices and also bringing them to us and telling us, look how this is exactly what we were looking for. And that's really what we want with this webinar. We want to give the platform to all those practices to really reach a wider audience. And we travel first to Ireland. So we're going to hear from the colleagues of the Kinsale Community College, Kinsale Community School in Kinsale, Ireland. And we have with us, I think, Catherine and Gerard, that are going to present a practice about a teacher-led research group in the school. So researching on the practice itself. So Catherine, Gerard, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our practice with everyone here today. My name is Catherine Coughlin. I'm a science and biology teacher in Kinsale Community School, and I'm joined by my colleague Gerard O'Callaghan today to discuss the UR project. Kinsale Community School is in Cork, county in the southern part of Ireland. It's a co-educational secondary school. We have current enrolment 1,500 students in our school, ranging age between 12 and 18, and we've over 150 staff. That includes our teaching staff, special educational needs assistants, and our administration staff. I do have an image, if it's possible. I can talk through that with you. The image really encapsulates everything in which our collaborative leadership practice has a role it is within our school. Our practice is actually called Crí na Scoile. It has two real meanings. The first one is collaboration and research for ongoing innovation, na Scoile. Na Scoile is the Irish word for school. It's a unique pioneering initiative within our school in which research reinforces collaborative leadership to meaningful shape school practices. It's a research-focused collaborative group, and it represents a model that is not currently widely found elsewhere in the Irish postgrad or post-primary sector. Crí, and as our logo shows, is a heart, is actually the Irish word for heart. So it really reinforces the idea that research is squarely within the core of our school in terms of teaching and learning and our school self-evaluation and improvement process within our school. It's a teacher-led cross-curricular research group. It lies in that it promotes and develops teacher efficiency as reflective practitioners and really embeds the idea of being a reflective practitioner into your practice. It's about engaging in research and to use research to review and develop our practice in an ongoing basis. The group itself is made up of numerous representatives and members from different initiatives within our school community, such as our school self-evaluation, digital framework, inclusion practices, our Erasmus, global citizenship, student voice, European initiatives. And it's that we explore our pedagogical approaches, use of digital tools to promote student voice, and how to address current educational challenges. And we can co-design interventions that strengthen connection between research, policy, and practice. It's really about engaging in that cyclical nature of action research, in that we reflect and we act and we refine our practice, and often the sharing of the practice is just as important of doing the practice itself. It works really well within our contents in Kinsale Community School because it's built really on the foundations of existing strengths within our school. We have a highly innovative and collaborative staff. We have a supportive and enabling senior management leadership team, and a school self-evaluation culture that values research and values research-informed evidence-based developments and improvements. The opportunities are given to us, and that our senior leadership act as architects to provide protected time for professional engagement, clear structures for collaboration, and promote a culture that prioritizes research-informed, evidence-based development and continuous school improvement, and often links with our external partners to further support this Crí na Scoile. The space arose due to the recognition that in our school there was an abundance of my colleagues and myself involving in research work in support of acquiring micro-credentials and postgraduate qualifications. It identifies a space within our school in which to best share research-informed practice, and really Crí na Scoile really provided a vehicle for us to do this. Challenges did arise within it of how best to disseminate and communicate our research findings to not only to the teachers but to all stakeholders involved in Kinsale Community School. We've overcome this to date by developing a research bulletin in which we share our research in concise, really meaningful manner and make it easy to assimilate into teachers' practice and their pedagogies. And it's shared online, it's shared in person. We share it through our teaching and learning programs, and also in conjunction with national universities and education boards. And also one thing that's quite unique to our school is that we have an annual school showcase called Féilte Beag, Féilte Scoile. Féilte is the Irish word for festival. So this is an annual event in which we have a festival of education, really, within our school. It celebrates teaching excellence and innovation, and it's a gathering of all the stakeholders involved in Kinsale Community School come together, share research-informed teaching, methodologies, ideas, and it really encourages the sharing in a positive atmosphere and really builds and cements that fostering a culture of collaboration and continuous improvement. In previous Féilte, we've often made it research informed, in which people would be giving the basis of their presentations or their workshop would be on the literature, the current education literature, and then they can build that and share that in a meaningful, kind of timely manner with their colleagues. Some of the impacts are shown and the resources we use are on the screen there. The impact really has been highly significant. CRE has informed facilitation our professional development. It really enhances our quality and efficacy of our teaching and learning, and it allows collaboration not only among us as a staff, but also policymakers, professional bodies and service providers. I'm going to hand over now to my colleague Jared, who's going to just discuss in more detail one such impact of this work.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jared O'Callaghan's my name. So as Catherine was saying, we have looked a lot at research and collaborating on how to present this best. So over the past number of years, through engaging in school self-evaluation, which each post-primary school and primary school in Ireland engage in, we saw a number of areas that we were going to look at. Myself and Catherine, along with the group, we identified team teaching as one area that we could really use and look at researching to help the collaboration of teaching staff and for the students. We're also engaged in this program called the Learning Schools Initiative this year in the school. So the Learning Schools sets out to support school self-evaluation. It also aims to, the main aspect is to strengthen teaching and learning, and finally develop the school as a learning school. The culture of a learning school will be developed in the school. So the reason we decided to look at team teaching as well is it's something we've looked back over the past. It involves the staff, it involves the students and the parents as key stakeholders in the school. And it's something that we got good buy-in from all these three stakeholders. We also wanted to see how we could look at making it impact teaching and learning. Our school, as Catherine highlighted, is a large school, but we're quite unique. We follow the model that's in Ireland is an inclusion model. We include all students. So for example, students with special educational needs, additional educational needs are included in the class in its teaching. So for example, students might engage in smaller support classes in certain areas of the school, but then they will engage in the mainstream classes with their other students in the school, which creates a real life community of learning in the school already with the students. So what we look at then is we also wanted to see from engaging in this with our school setting is we're also a school that tries many new things. Myself, I was a pilot leader of Leaving Cert physical education in the school, so teaching Leaving Cert to 17 and 18-year-old levels in the school, which is a new subject. So team teaching had been used in that subject as a way of trying to help the teaching and learning of the teachers. So what teaching strategies work best? How can the other teachers in the subject department learn about the teaching and learning? So we wanted to see, as we're trialing now a new subject as well, a pilot, of a new subject, sustainability, climate action, sustainability. We want to see how the learning from the team teaching of teachers could be used to help the learning of teachers. And also our other aspect was looking at how it can be used to improve the integration and inclusion of all students in the learning cycle. As part of this, so we use looking at our schools as a model for quality framework in framing this as well. So looking at our schools sets out the key domains that teachers and leaders should follow in our school, and we look at how we can push to achieve these. So when we looked at the start of the year, we identified team teaching as the area. There's many models of team teaching looking at very inclusive, one teaches, one observes, the teachers co-teaching in this classroom. So we wanted, at the moment, we're currently surveying teachers on their use of team teaching, how they find it beneficial. We're talking to students through focus groups and surveys to find out what their best methods are. As we're a learning school, myself, Catherine and other colleagues are engaging in research, seeing what is out there, what's the best methods, what's work, and we're feeding in that with the information that we get from teachers. The aim for this is looking forward now is to see what feedback we get from our staff, from the students, to see what aspects work best. We want to see how students feel included in the classroom, and we also want to see, especially from the teachers, me being a teacher, how can we help our fellow colleagues use team teaching to learn their subject in more detail, especially say if it's a pilot subject, and also improved their understanding and confidence of teaching, say the higher level in the subject, especially at senior cycle in our school. As Catherine alluded to, we have our Festival of Teaching, Féilte Scoile Beaga, which occurs in late September, early October every year. So the aim is that we can take findings from this to present at, possibly have a team teaching as the lead at our Féilte next year, but also as part of my role, I also lead out in teach meets. So teachers now can be identified who have been strong leaders and can collaborate and present at these teach meets, which will occur later in the year. One of the biggest things is what we've learned from our experience in this so far is we've learned from our past experience of Creana Scola. We've become more streamlined at getting the opinions of people through the use of focus groups, through reading research, which has been really beneficial. And it has made the process more streamlined for us as we've continued to engage and collaborate. Without doubt, collaboration here is the biggest aspect. You can observe in the staff room, the conversations with teachers after team teaching has become more positive. A lot of teachers are more eager to find out how team teaching benefits them and talk to colleagues that have led out on team teaching initiatives already. We also see that teachers are eager to see these new ways of teaching, and when they learn about these ideas of new team teaching, they can see what works well in their classroom and are eager to look about it. We've identified teachers now who want to and feel confident presenting at school self-evaluation. Apologies. We've now identified teachers who feel more confident presenting in front of their colleagues and collaborating with their colleagues. Not only are they learning from inside their own subject area, but they've also found that they're learning from other subject areas. So myself, I teach physical education. I would be used to dealing with large crowds, open space, and I've learned a lot then from an English teacher who uses team teaching, more structured, more settings, straight lines, no balls flying around. That how they can organize a classroom through team teaching and have used different forms in their classroom that I have seen that have been more beneficial in my classroom as well. Management have set up this aspect of collaboration in our school, and us as teachers feel empowered to lead out on it. And it is not only through this distributed leadership, it has definitely improved and empowered teachers to take their own leadership and lead out on these key learning activities. So at the end of this process, we have identified teachers that will collaborate with us and can share with their other teachers in the school how best to lead peer teaching and the best models that will work in certain subjects. Thank you for having us to present here, and Catherine would like to sum up on today.
Thank you. Thanks, Jared. Finally, summary. We feel this practice really can inspire others as it demonstrates that collaborative leadership can really flourish when teachers are trusted as researchers and when student voices are valued and heard. By reinforcing this collaborative leadership, it fosters innovation, enhances organizational performance, and elevates employee engagement. And that all leads to really positive outcomes for all stakeholders within our school. We've cultivated a real culture of inquiry in Kinsale Community School and curiosity. We're ambitious, we're inclusive, we're really entrepreneurial as a school, and we take risks and we learn and we share our learning. This model of Creana Scola really aligns all these elements together. And this model really emphasizes that inclusive participation in school planning, evaluation, decision-making, really fosters greater agency, enhances morale, stronger collective commitment, and it really demonstrates that collaborative leadership thrives when teachers are empowered as researchers and decision makers. Again, I'd echo what Jared said. Thank you so much for allowing us to showcase our model with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have read this practice multiple times because obviously I was in the back end of receiving the applications, but and in the journal, but it was so much better to just get to hear it directly from you. And I have some questions that have arose, and I wish I had the time to shoot to you, but I will go first with the ones from the chat. So I see one from Mika Risku from Finland that asks, how is your teacher's self-esteem as researchers? Is the research taken seriously?
Well, I will talk maybe on this one. I actually come from a research background before I became a teacher. I completed a PhD in respiratory medicine and then I redirected towards teaching. So I feel that it really is taken seriously and that it's really about how we disseminate that research, because we're sharing it in such a way that it's not going to make more time or effort for my colleagues. So when you produce something, we produce it in really like bite-sized chunks so they can go, okay, I can take that. And they really take it seriously, knowing that as a collective staff, we are doing it for each other and we're doing it to help each other. And it's not about, here is 48 research journals and we want you to review them. It's already been done and it's already just bite-sized, and how you can assimilate it straight into your teaching methodologies. So that was one of the keys of having this collaborative leadership in Creana Scola, is that we can do that. We can just make it so easy for people to take that research seriously and really use it in their practice.
Fantastic. And I have one more question, because you mentioned at the beginning that this initiative was already building on the strengths of your school. And I have been to your school a couple of times, and I know that indeed it has many strengths and is fantastic. But how could you then advise to others, perhaps also in Ireland, but beyond Ireland, to replicate this practice? So what will be the first steps that they will need to take if they already don't have this culture of being a learning schools themselves?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it really is about, maybe at the start of a year, you identify an area of school self-improvement or learning that you want to focus on the staff, and then really engage people, really encourage people to engage with it and have these celebrations or these festivals of education. So I would say start small, use one area of your school self-evaluation, whether it be teaching and learning, whether it be well-being, whether it be some area, team teaching, that you want to focus on, and start small. And that, you know, people get models it to other staff members, that this is something that can be very beneficial for my own teaching, and then that allows the buy-in then from other staff and from students. And again, it has to be facilitated by a really good senior management team who allow you to take the time and and have these group chat or group time to discuss this research.
Loud and clear. Thank you very much, Catherine and Gerard. We move on to the next presentation, but please feel free to respond to any further questions that come up in the chat if you have the time. And we travel now all the way to Turkey. So we have with us not only Deniz Hanar, the teacher who submitted this practice to us, but actually multiple of the students that are engaged in the initiative. So this is a practice about empowering student voice through peer leadership. And there's some of the mentors that are involved in the practice, some of the mentees, some of the teachers that are helping to coordinate. So we are very happy to welcome you all to this webinar, Denise, and to hear more about this practice.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone from Turkey. My name is Deniz Hanar. I'm an English language teacher at Çankaya Borsa Istanbul Tourism Vocational and Technical Anatolian High School in Ankara, Turkey. I've been teaching English in public schools for more than 20 years. In recent years, I have also been actively involved in Erasmus Plus projects and international collaboration in vocational education. Today, I would like to share with you a small but meaningful initiative that we developed in our school, empowering student voice through peer-led Erasmus interview preparation in wet education. Before I begin, I would like to ask a simple question. Many of our students dream about participating in Erasmus mobility programs, traveling abroad, and meeting people from different cultures. But when they face their first interview in English, uh, many of them suddenly feel nervous, unsure, and afraid of making mistakes because English is not our mother tongue. In our school, we asked ourselves a simple question. What if students could help each other overcome this challenge? Today, I would like to share how a small peer-led initiative helps our students become more confident, collaborative, and ready for international opportunities. And this is the challenge. In many vocational schools, students are very interested in participating in Erasmus mobility programs. And we have a program too in our school. We send our students for apprenticeship to Spain, Italy, Hungary, Poland. And however, when it comes to the selection interview, many students experience serious challenges. For many of them, it's the first time speaking English in an interview situation. They feel anxious and insecure. They worry about making mistakes, and they often underestimate their own abilities. As teachers, we know their capabilities, and we noticed that even capable students sometimes fail to express themselves clearly in the interview, simply because they lack experience. So we started to ask ourselves a question: how can we prepare students for Erasmus interviews in a way that's supportive, authentic, and empowering. And the idea, I want to talk about the idea, instead of preparing students only through traditional teacher-led practice, we introduced a peer-led preparation model. The idea was simple. Students who had already participated in Erasmus interviews or who had stronger communication skills could act as peer mentors for other students. In this model, experienced students become mentors, new applicants become mentees. Together, they simulate Erasmus interview situations, and this approach creates a more relaxed and supportive learning environment where students feel less afraid of making mistakes. I would love to talk about how the process worked in slide 4. The preparation process included several steps. First, mentor students were trained briefly by the teacher about interview structure and typical Erasmus interview questions and giving constructive feedback. Then, mentor students conducted mock interview sessions with the mentees. And during these sessions, students practiced answering questions, mentors asked follow-up questions, and mentors shared advice based on their own experience. The teacher's role was mainly facilitating and guiding, while students actively led the learning process. And I would like to talk about the collaboration and the stakeholders. This initiative involved several important actors. First, of course, the teacher, who designed the structure of the activity. Second, the mentor students, who voluntarily took responsibility to guide their peers. And the third and the last one, the mentees, who were preparing for Erasmus mobility interviews. What made the collaboration powerful was that students did not feel they were being evaluated by the teacher. Instead, they felt they were supported by someone who had already gone through the same experience. Of course, there were some challenges. The process also had some challenges at the beginning. Some students were shy. Mentor students were unsure about how to guide others, and some mentees still felt nervous speaking English. However, as the sessions progressed, we observed that students became more relaxed and more confident. Peer support played a very important role in reducing anxiety. They helped each other. Collaboration, that's the most important word for us, collaborative leadership. And impact and outcomes, when it comes to impact and outcomes, even though this initiative is relatively simple, we have already observed several positive impacts. Students reported that they felt more confident during the interview process, and they improved their speaking skills. They became more aware of how to present themselves, and mentor students also benefited greatly. They developed leadership skills, communication skills, and a sense of responsibility. In other words, the process empowered both mentors and mentees. And student voice, when it comes to student voice, one of the most valuable outcomes was hearing the students' own reflections. Some mentor students said that helping others made them realize how much they had learned themselves, and mentee students reported that practicing with peers felt less stressful than practicing only with teachers. This showed us that the student voice and peer learning can be powerful tools in vocational education. What we would do differently if we were to start this initiative again? There are a few things we would improve. For example, we would start the mentoring process earlier. We would provide a short training session for mentor students, and we would document the process more systematically. We are also considering integrating AI-supported interview simulations in the future to complement peer mentoring. In conclusion, this small initiative reminded us something very important. Students are not only learners, they can also be mentors, leaders, and collaborators. By giving students responsibility and voice, we can create learning environments that are more supportive, empowering, and authentic. And sometimes the most effective educational innovations are not the most complex ones, but the ones that trust students to learn from each other. Before we finish, I would like to leave you with one simple idea. Sometimes the most meaningful innovation in education does not come from new technology or complex systems. It comes from trusting students to learn with each other, support each other, and grow together. And when we give students that opportunity, we do not only prepare them for Erasmus interviews, we prepare them for real-life collaboration in an international world. This initiative could potentially evolve into a European collaboration exploring student-led mobility, preparation in vocational education. Before closing my sentences, I would love to leave the floor to my mentee and mentor students. Let me give you the floor to Duru. She's my mentor student, Duru. To give you a better understanding of how this initiative worked in practice, I would like to invite Duru to briefly share her experience. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your time.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Durusude Kurt, and I'm a student at Çankaya University Istanbul Tourism Vocational and Technical Anatolian High School in Ankara, Turkey. In this initiative, I participated as a mentor student supporting my classmates preparing for their Erasmus mobility interview. When our teacher first introduced the idea of peer mentoring, I was so excited and at the same time a little unsure. I had never been a role like guide other students before. However, I quickly realized that this experience was not only about helping others prepare for an interview, but also about creating a supportive learning environment amongst students. During the preparation season, we simulated real Erasmus interview situations. I asked interview questions, listened carefully to the answers, and gave suggestions about how students could explain their ideas more clearly and confidently. At the beginning, many students felt nervous. Some of them were worried about their English level, and others were afraid of making mistakes. But we were working together as peers. The atmosphere became more relaxed and supportive. Over time, I could see how their confidence started to grow. For me personally, this experience was very meaningful. I realized that mentoring is not only about sharing knowledge, it's also about listening, encouraging others, and helping them recognize their own potential. This initiative showed me that students can play an active role in each other's learning. When students support each other, learning becomes more collaborative, more motivating, and much more powerful. And now, I would like to let the floor to my dearest mentee student, İpek Halkan.
Hello and good afternoon to all. My name is İpek Halkan, and I'm one of the students who prepared for the Erasmus Mobility interview and passed with flying colors, going to Poland this April. Alongside my studies, I'm actively learning Japanese and running a Model United Nations Club alongside my two friends who will also be speaking in this meeting today. Before taking part in the peer preparation sessions, I felt anxious about the interview. I knew it was an important opportunity for students who want to participate in the Erasmus program, but I was not completely confident about expressing my thoughts clearly in English. The peer mentoring sessions were extremely helpful for me. Instead of practicing only with teachers, we were able to work with mentor students who had already gone through similar experiences. This created a more relaxed and supportive environment where we felt less pressure. During these sessions, mentor students asked questions that were very similar to the ones used in the real Erasmus interview. They encouraged us to talk about our motivations, our expectations, and our reasons for wanting to take part in the Erasmus program. As we continued practicing, I gradually became more confident. At first, it was difficult to speak without hesitation, but over time, I realized that regular practice makes a big difference. I also learned that preparing for an interview is not only about having strong language skills, it is equally important to organize your ideas clearly, explain your motivations effectively, and believe in your own abilities. Another valuable part of this experience was the positive atmosphere among students. While practicing together, we supported and encouraged each other, and we shared ideas about how to answer interview questions more effectively. For me, the most meaningful aspect of this experience was the sense of cooperation between students. Instead of seeing each other as competitors, we worked together and helped each other improve. Overall, this experience showed me that peer learning can be a very powerful way to develop both academically and personally. Thank you everyone so much for listening to my speech, and for your time, I'd like to pass the floor to my dearest friend, Ipek.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Ipek Ertemir and I was one of the students preparing for the Erasmus Mobility interview. I spent my 2 weeks in Hungary by joining the Erasmus Plus project of our school, and I practiced my English by talking to the locals there. In addition, I have been learning Spanish for over 2 years and I talk to my Spanish friends to improve my Spanish and other language. I'm also learning Hungarian, which helps me communicate better with people from Hungary and understand their culture. Before joining the peer preparation sessions, I felt quite nervous about the interview sessions. I knew that this interview was an important opportunity, but I was not sure if I would be able to express my ideas clearly in English. The peer mentoring sessions helped me a lot. Instead of practicing only with teachers, we had the opportunity to work with mentor students who had already experienced similar situations. This made the environment feel more comfortable and less stressful. During the sessions, mentor students asked us questions similar to those used in real Erasmus interviews. They encouraged us to explain our motivations, our expectations, and our goals for participating in the Erasmus program. With each practice session, I started to feel more confident. I realized that preparing for an interview is not only about language skills, it is also about organizing your thoughts, expressing your motivations, and believing in yourself. What I appreciated about this experience was the sense of support between students. Instead of competing with each other, we helped each other improve. This experience showed me that peer learning can be a powerful way to grow both academically and personally. Thank you for listening to me. Now I'd like to pass the floor to Dennis Batur.
Hello, I will add my experience as well as my friends. At first, I was worried about finding someone to practice with. Then I thought about asking my English teacher for help. However, after some time, I realized that practicing only with a teacher was not enough. Instead of practicing only with teachers, I had the opportunity to interview questions with mentor students who had already experienced similar situations. Because they were also students like us, the atmosphere felt more relaxed and supportive. During the sessions, mentor students asked us questions similar to those used in the real Erasmus interviews. They encouraged us to explain our motivations, our expectations, and our personal goals for participating in the Erasmus program. They also gave us helpful suggestions about how to organize our answers and how to speak more confidently. For us, the most valuable part of this experience was the feeling of support between students. Instead of seeing each other as competitors, we worked together and helped each other improve. This created a learning environment where everyone felt more comfortable participating. We also learned that students can play an important role in supporting each other's learning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much to all of you. You've received lots of hearts and claps and thumbs up. I hope you saw that. And there's a few questions in the chat as well. So if I can gather a couple of them to quickly go through them. Monica is asking, I was wondering how this initiative was perceived by the teachers. You mentioned they were facilitating, guiding, observing, but how did they experience the process overall? I guess it was rewarding for them to see their students growing like this. So I guess, Denise, this question is for you.
Yeah, I would love to thank for the question. Yeah, exactly. It was it made a little process to think that to give a better understanding of how this initiative will work in practice. We were so excited like the students, but it worked, and you saw the results online.
Maybe a quick question for maybe for Duru first, because she was the only mentor here. Why did you decide to join in a volunteering way to mentor the other students? Did you receive any mentoring, and maybe this inspired you, or did you just want to help your peers?
In the first place, my dance teacher said and introduced these mentoring skills, and I decided to give some help for my friends, my mentees. In the first time, I feel so nervous about that because I came really like quickly came back from my interview, and now I'm just like I have a responsible like helping them.
But it was great that you joined, because they spoke very highly of you.
Yes.
There's a question from Jale that is also from Turkey, actually, and she's asking how many times did you meet for the mentoring sessions?
Yeah, I totally agree with Jale. Not only vocational schools, of course. For the apprenticeship, as you know, we send our students to Europe. So it's a must for our schools to make Erasmus Plus interviews, you know. So we tried and we did it, we managed, and now I'm feeling so proud of my students, their first experience with a European group. Yeah.
So
We can
yeah, so
uh,
how many times did they meet for the mentoring, Denise?
mentoring. We chose especially the ones who are professional, who went abroad and came back for telling their experiences to the mentees. They are the chosen ones.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for letting us hear a bit more about this great practice. We move now to our third practice of the day, and the only student-led good practice inspiring showcase that we have with us today. So we have Elodie speaking on behalf of her colleague who couldn't join us today, Alessandro Di Micheli, who shared this initiative about dialogue between teachers, collective, and student unions in Italy specifically. So Elodie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a responsibility I bear now as the only student. Yeah, I've been in this position many times, but it's really great to be here. I'm very happy. Yeah, so here on behalf of OBESU, which is the Organizing Bureau of European School Students Unions. Super short and easy, I know. And unfortunately, yeah, my fellow board member Alessandro couldn't be here today, so I'll do my best to deliver this good practice. A little bit about me, since I see so many Finnish people in the comments. I'm from Finland, 20 years old, currently just taking a gap year, focusing on OBESU. So yeah, a little bit about OBESU and the initiative. So OBESU is the main platform for cooperation of national student unions active in general secondary and vocational education in Europe, so high school, upper secondary school. And it's our core mission to promote and foster student representation and meaningful participation in all matters that impact students' lives. Sorry, exemplified by our motto, nothing about us without us. Yes. So challenges we've been facing for way too long. We have often been seen as antagonistic elements in decision-making processes. We are often seen as something to fight against rather than to collaborate with as an equal partner. This is especially true for secondary students and vocational education training. It would also be easy to point the finger at young people's infamous apathy or lack of interest, lack of engagement in political causes or in civil society in general, but this really overlooks causes behind these symptoms. So it declines in the trust towards institutions, and politics stem out of the lack of sense of belonging and ownership over those representative bodies, the problems they address, and the decisions they take. And there cannot be any sense of ownership or belonging without the means and fair and inclusive opportunities to meaningfully engage with and participate in those institutions and decisions. For example, in the case of vocational education and training, VET, learners, that is very outstanding. So VET learners and apprentices in Europe do unfortunately not have equal representation mechanisms as people from general education, mainly relying on indirect, not independent forms of representation within companies and trade unions. So when mainstream channels of participation are closed, young people tend to find their own alternatives, such as, in this case, volunteering or community projects and international projects, advocacy, protesting, and so on. Unfortunately, the impact of these informal engagements are often overlooked or undervalued, despite their significance as student-led citizenship initiatives and their benefits to building vivid and resilient democracies. You may ask, well, what is the benefit of collaborating with students? Students really are educational leaders in their own rights. Not only do we have the right to be shape the decision that impact our lives, but we have very unique knowledge and potential that is otherwise left untapped. We know what we need. We know what our fellow students need, our fellow young people are concerned about, interests. And when given these opportunities, we can activate learners and bring their perspectives on the table. It's therefore very inspiring to look at these examples of the countless of times that students have taken the lead and collaborated with other educational actors to bring change, including the dialogue between teachers, collective and student unions, led by our one and only Unione degli Studenti. Sorry, my Italian's not great, but I'll try. So unfortunately, as mentioned, Alessandro can't be here today, but a little bit about UDS and the initiative. So UDS was founded in 1994 and developed various student movements in Italy and quickly made a name for itself as one of the main promoters of the Students' Rights Charter approved in the late 90s. So the project has then grown and gained its total independence and autonomy, both politically, economically, and establishing itself as a recognized stakeholder in educational matters, both inside and outside of schools. A little bit about the initiative itself, how long it lasted, and the Teachers Association involved. This project happened between 2022 and 2023 in Lombardia, the regional base of UDS. They collaborated with Collettivo Assenze Ingiustificate, a collective of teachers from across the Lombardia region that explores, discusses, and debates all the critical issues they encounter in the Italian public school system. So in order to jointly produce operational proposals and change the school system from within, all united by the idea that school is not only a space to ignite the fascination and beauty of knowledge, but also a privileged place for discussion and to exercise democracy. So building on past interactions in various municipalities, UDS decided to engage with the teachers collective through a series of joint and informal gatherings of students and teachers, ranging all from UDS Regional Congress to school assemblies. They decided to organize this as a way to tackle the lack of open and indirect dialogue between students and teachers, as well as the absence of collaborative approach to shaping learning processes in the Italian school system. So through this practice and various challenges, such as how to implement inclusive and feminist education in teaching mythologies and in school in general, how to safeguard the personal identity of all students, and so on. They were able to demonstrate how student and teacher leaders can not only discuss with each other, but also extend their collaboration beyond those discussions, as showcased by the joint participation in each side's own initiatives. So basically, put shortly, they came together and worked together in a beautiful, very grassroots way. And then the result, the impact of this initiative, the outcome was incredible because this allowed for better collaboration and it was a possibility to get a better understanding of each other's points of views, as students and teachers don't often get to discuss so openly and so guilt-free and so equally. And with such an open collaboration, they can now understand each other and the problems they both face, and therefore know how to better address them. So in the end, both sides benefited from greater awareness of how alternative learning methods can be developed and implemented in ways that are satisfactory for both students and teachers. So all in all, this resulted in a great joint participation between the two parties. And this was really only made possible by having a open discussion and challenging the structure in the existing schools. So as well as form a general vision, common goal on how to do this, and cater for constructive discussions to be able to bridge the differences of opinions and shape common positions, really. This grassroots character of the practice, as well as the informal setting of the dialogues, as I was told, they were sitting in a circular disposition, had dialogue moderation without time constraints, so really just being able to respect each other and speak freely. Created a great environment where they could share their views, a key element really in supporting the well-functioning of the activities. And they were also able to find that they had been calling for structural changes to the existing system already. And so there were various inspiring elements in this practice, including the fact that this is a regional collaboration that was developed and implemented at a grassroots level and civil society level, indicating a concrete interest of both parties to engage. Additionally, the collaboration channels that this practice opened up inspired both students and teachers to include each other as active participants in their own initiatives, meaning that the teachers and the students in the Lombardia region have started seeing each other as allies in education rather than enemies or rivals. So with the UDS having such a strong national presence, they are one of our very strong member organizations in Obesu. The practice could easily, we think, be replicated in other Italian regions, involving their own networks. UDS and Collettivo Assenze Ingiustificate could also involve other local student and teacher organizations in the organization and develop collaboration. So when the momentum is built at the local and regional levels, there should be the possibility of creating a more structured dialogue between students and teachers at the national level with the very relevant involvement of policymakers. So based on these elements, we believe that engaging with grassroots organizations at the local level is a necessary first step for the collaboration of student leaders with other educational actors. So this requires respect and recognition of the added value, as well as certain degree of flexibility to adapt to more informal character of their work. And of course, if student organizations had more resources and capacities to do representation, participate and engage, we would also see a lot more of this kind of collaboration, perhaps at a regional or even national level. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Elodie. And first of all, thank you for taking the place for Alessandro and really telling us about this very specific Italian case. I have a question. You can also check the chat. There were many comments praising the practice and quoting from the journal directly. But I have a question for Obesu, because you mentioned that this is a practice that could be very well replicated, especially in Italy, because obviously the regions will most likely have a more similar, I guess, setup already. So how is Obesu, for example, as a European level organization, or these UDS themselves, sort of working on that dissemination or on that mentoring to other members, either from Obesu or from Italy, to try and already spread the initiative? Is this already going on? Is this something that you have in mind?
Although this is a very inspiring initiative, as many other NGOs, we are very busy. So unfortunately, this is not a priority of ours right now. But we are working on, especially Alessandro is working on the Declaration of School Student Rights. So something similar in that sense, which basically is about a declaration of constituting students' rights. And so, I mean, Daniele here is working very hard on that. If he wants to explain more, I will give you the floor.
Yes, I can quickly jump in to respond to these questions. So, of course, we understood this initiative by our members as something really important. Again, student representation and is not, despite being widespread in Europe, it's still often tokenized by institutions. And seeing how members can work at the national level independently is also inspiring for us to try to help them replicate these, across our membership. The Declaration of School Student Rights is a long-term project we have been working on at Obesu that should potentially foster the recognition of students as equal partners among other educational leaders. And this is a more policy-oriented initiative, but as Elodie has rightfully said in her intervention, there were some key elements that we believe were key in fundamental in achieving that collaboration. And first of all, the grassroots character of this and the informality of the whole practice. Which cater for an environment where students, just like for the practice from before from Turkey, creates an environment where students feel more relaxed, so to say, and more free to share their views. An important element in the Italian case was a shared common vision for these for the changes they both the teachers and the students wanted to see in the Italian education system. Of course, this is often difficult to build. In Italy, it worked very well because there were some past interactions between UDS and the collettivo. But I don't see why this shouldn't be happening also in other countries. I would say this is pretty much it. But if you have any other questions, please.
Yes, thank you, Daniela. There's just one last question from Mika in the chat that says, what will your dream be for collaborative leadership so that youth will have authentic ownership and agency? Your approach very much looks like it already.
Elodie, if you want, or
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, my dream and something I am gonna give a personal example now. I'm very happy that I was able to actually realize in my school on a very local level was the fact that the teachers were really so open to collaborating with us. So similar to this example, when we had common issues or a common goal, we were really able to actually tackle that because everybody kept an open mind. So really this like being open to it and being somewhat emotionally intelligent, I guess it takes as well, to kind of understand that you are not fighting against each other. So for us, it was a very successful way of doing that. We were also a very tidy school, so I get that in bigger organizations or institutions, this might not work. But as the example mentioned, to just keep an open mind and to try to find these common issues. But don't know if that answers the question, so I'll give it to Daniele.
I would like just to add one thing that we are also doing at the European level, which is we are in contact with the industry, since now Europe mainly thinks about education in terms of labor market, but we are trying to explore how students can participate in industry education partnerships. It's just we started some dialogue, so we are still at the early stages of this. But I mean, seeing students as educational leaders should be across the board. So it's not only a matter of shaping curricula together, it's also about shaping school governance together. It's also about potentially, shaping apprenticeship agreements, which are usually led by the industry or by other educational actors that are not students. So yes, I would say this all-encompassing student representation.
Thank you, Daniel. And actually, there couldn't have been a better link to the next practice that we're going to hear about, which is about democratic leadership and decision-making in an alternative school in Hungary, the Kurt Alternative Gymnasium. So we have Christina and one of her students, Victor, with us. In this school, you will be able to read about it in the journal as well, but has created multiple councils and bodies of discussion fora for all, not only the students, but all the different stakeholders involved in the educational community to actually have this democratic culture embedded in the school and the decision making. So Christina, Victor, we are very excited to hear a bit more about this practice. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, we prepared a presentation as well, so if that's okay, I'll try to share it. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes. So if you make the presentation bigger.
Yeah.
There we go.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So welcome everybody and good afternoon. Today we are going to present one inspiring practice, and that is going to be the story of our democratic secondary school. Our school is called Kurt Alternative Gymnasium, which is actually an alternative, inclusive and bilingual school in the heart of Budapest, Hungary. Well, first it was created in 1991, and but its current shape has evolved since 2013. Currently, we have quite a few students, so more than 400, together with 81 teachers. And the most important purpose of our school was that we wanted to create a genuinely democratic and collaborative environment where all students, teachers, and parents can initiate different ideas, participate in the decision-making process. The model was actually inspired by another alternative Hungarian school, but it has evolved through continuous adaptation to our context nowadays. We have actually 15 different classes, but we'll talk about that later. Well, we are very different from any other Hungarian schools, and because most of our in our everyday life, everybody makes decisions with full responsibility, which means that it is based on the cooperation of students, teachers, and parents, that all of them shape our school based on the core principles. We have three basic principles, which include democracy and the equality at all levels of organizations. We'll see some examples in a few minutes regarding those. We also, the most important one is also that we are an inclusive institution, which means that we have a great variety of students, a great heterogeneity regarding students, which means that we have quite a few, like 25% of our students are special needs students, but we also have students with fewer opportunities, also from various social backgrounds. And we are also enhancing an individual-centered approach, which means that, for example, students can choose from a great variety of subjects, optional subjects, as well as learning different languages as a second language besides the English one. We have one vision, which is building a democratic school and leadership, which means that our principle is that leadership doesn't really mean a greater pedagogical expertise. So it means that if we believe in democracy, it must be present at every level of the school life, which means that we established throughout the years a division of powers that is also based on checks and balances, as well as some guaranteed right to actually mirror a democratic society. It means that decisions are made at meetings attended by all different elected members of the school community. So it means that all school citizens can experience also the weight as well as the importance of their own words, thus taking responsibilities for their actions. And this also implies to all different students that we have that they can practice their citizenship skills. And now we can see some examples of some of our decision-making bodies in our school, which means we have a lot of them. So here we only brought you a few examples. For example, we have the management team that consists of 5 leaders. All of them have a shared leadership and different responsibilities, and they are going to be altogether responsible for operational decisions. Like, for example, we have the operational leader, the school leader, professional leader, administrative and pedagogical leader. We have also other bodies like the group of thinkers, which consists of not just the school leaders, but also 8 other additional participants, elected members from the teachers community, and they are going to be responsible for pedagogical and professional decisions. We also have something that's called a forum here that comprises of all the teachers that are in the school. And we have a council for the class teachers. There is 30 people altogether. And we also have 2 bodies. One of them is called the EF, and the other one is called the Kurd Council, that rely on not just teachers, but also students, as well as parents. And we have many other different organizational bodies here. But we're going to hear one of our students talking about this Kurd Council that is going to be the most important decision-making body of the school. And yes, Victor, if you are here, you can continue.
I am not sure if my camera will work because it didn't work in the previous. Oh, it does work. So
fine.
my name is Victor Terry, and I am the secretary for Kurt Council. And Kurt Council is, as said before, the highest decision-making body of Kurt, which means that we can make decisions in all areas except for pedagogical, professional, and financial. And we also get to decide what subjects come into these three categories. Altogether, we have 45 votes, which are split between teachers, students, and parents. For parents, we have 15 representatives, one for every class, same for students. And for teachers, we have 5 representatives who have 3 votes each. Now, what we usually do is that we'll make decisions on our own and accept and implement proposals that are not a part of those 3 categories, as well as we review anything that comes from the group of thinkers or forum, because it needs to get through us first. And we also discuss all sorts of ideas for improvement. What we've been doing lately is also that we've been inviting group leaders to our meetings so that we can find areas of improvement. And we've been also working to make the school a cleaner and more environmentally friendly place. Now, the reason I think that Kurt Council is an absolutely amazing thing to have in our school is that it offers insight for students into how democracy works, and they can interact with it as well. And both parents and students get a say, which isn't true for a lot of places in schools. And yeah, basically, I think it's a really good thing to have, and it's really important for our school. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Victor, for elaborating that in great details. Yeah. So yeah, so as you've heard, we have many different bodies that operate in our school, and of course we've had our challenges as well. So operating within a traditional Hungarian education system, sometimes it is not easy, and we do have a lot of challenges throughout the years. Well, besides this, our practice also addresses the challenge that sometimes democratic participation is quite time-consuming. So sometimes it can be really slow to get to the end of different decisions. But yeah, we also have to mention that it requires time, and maybe not everybody is initially eager to engage in these practices first and in the whole process of decision making. We also have to mention that it requires lifelong learning and also a leadership commitment, as well as an additional effort from on our teachers' side, which means that the organizational development is going to be very important in this context. Well, we've had well, there are many different factors that enable and contribute to our success, which means that our structure is quite transparent. Maybe it might seem a bit confusing for those who hear about it for the first time, but eventually they will get used to it. It means that all different bodies, they have clean and clear responsibilities, which means that they have their own tasks to do, as well as their own personal responsibility for doing so. So it means that the whole system relies on collaboration and also open communication between all different members, not just about teachers, but also with students and parents as well, as it was mentioned earlier. And the greatest thing about that is that we don't really need a special infrastructure for this. So basically it could be used in any different kinds of European school. And we believe that the school should be like a shared project among all different school citizens, and that with the help of it, we can actually practice, and also our students can practice democratic values by being active citizens of the school community. Well, after more than a decade, we can say that this democratic practice has profoundly changed and transformed our school culture. It means that now students and also teachers, they feel confident and empowered and also willing to take the responsibility. It means that many children having grown up in a democratic society, they actually adapt quite quickly and they can thrive in this environment, even if their previous schools, like primary schools, were hierarchical. So it means that we have seen we have also seen some examples of parents and students that were actively involved in all the decision-making processes. And sometimes they can also initiate various proposals. So a lot of the proposals, they come from the student sides, or maybe some from parents as well. It means that the relationship within the school have shifted from this formal hierarchy to partnership, which is based on trust and usually openness. It means that all these factors, they actually contribute to strengthening the community and also encourage the active participation in the long term. Well, we also had some questions about if starting again, what would happen? Well, it is important to mention that this kind of system does require considerable time and resources, especially human resources as well. If starting again, the process might benefit from introducing the system more gradually, step by step, and it is also important to ensure a dedicated amount of time in the teachers' schedules to participate in the different steps of the democratic processes. So it means that establishing clear compensation or different ways of recognition for all the additional responsibilities beyond teaching might be a good idea. Well, providing organization development and also training earlier might be good ideas as well, especially for leadership, in order to ensure like this strong alignment with the democratic principles and values that we have in the school. So all in all, it's not just students, teachers, but also parents that should be included in all decision-making bodies. And with the help of that, we can establish this democratic leadership within the school community. And I think, and we hope that this practice could be also used in any other European schools as well, and that it could be introduced, well, with the help of this practice. So thank you for the attention. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christina and Victor. I think this was the perfect practice to end with, because it's a perfect reflection of what ELNE stands for and the ELNE definition that we've been working on for the past years. I do have, because we have a few minutes, one question for you. And you mentioned in the challenges that perhaps one of them was the time that it required, not only to build the culture that you have now, but also in the different bodies, the time that each of the actors have to dedicate to it. So how do you ensure, first of all, do you struggle to get volunteers? I don't know if you call them, or members for these different bodies. And if so, how do you sort of incentivize them? Not only the teachers, you mentioned already some potential initiatives, but the parents, the students.
I've also mentioned that sometimes compensations can be, well, they can help sometimes. So it means that we always have members for all the different elected positions. We have one election during the school year, which is due to in May usually. And we have such roles that are for 1 year, 3 years, and even in between these. So it means that these people can be re-elected sometimes if they want to, but I think we've never really had to struggle on finding people, because we have so many tasks to do. We have so many bodies to commit to, and I think everybody can actually find the one that is that is for him or her regarding the interests. So we haven't really been struggling with finding the right people usually. And we have many different positions, like really a lot.
Yes, I can imagine why you don't struggle. I think the benefits are clearly outbalancing
And
the
also that
challenges.
we have a lot of school members, so not just about teachers, but also students are quite willing to participate in these projects. They like being part of that, and they like shaping the school together with us.
Yeah, we have a question as well from Monica that asks, do you also share this practice with other Hungarian schools? How do they react to your democratic leadership approach?
Yeah, well, well, it would be really good to share this with all different Hungarian schools, but so it is hard to do that in the public sector, for example. So we have some alternative other private schools that are similar to us, and also the one that was kind of an example for us as well. So yeah, it is hard to share these practices with the public within the public school system. Yeah, but that would be a really good step to do.
And one last question from Mika. How will you feel going to a normal Hungarian school from your own? So after all you've built and the culture that you are accustomed to, what will you miss, I guess, from the school in a different setting?
Well, I grew up in this school, so I have no other experience with other schools. So yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything because all these possibilities that we have here, not just for teachers, but also for the students as well. So
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Thank you very much, Christina. So we're
Thank you.
right on time, actually, which I didn't expect, but that's fantastic. So I just want to thank everybody, all of those that submitted the great examples to the calls for proposals. Again, you have, I think, 30 or 31. I've been saying 30, but it might be 31 examples in the journal that is available on the ELNE website. And I hope that this webinar as well served to inspire many others that haven't had time yet to visit the journal. We also have 2 more webinars coming up as part of the European Education Month, so we hope to see you in the coming weeks. And we hope that this webinar and the journal as well are, like Aja said at the beginning of this webinar, an opportunity for you to reflect on what practices could be transferable to your context, how could you replicate them to connect with each other, to perhaps reach out, organize your own webinars. We would be very happy to feature them on our ELNE channels as well. So thank you again to all that came today, and very active chat as per usual from our research committee. And I'm wishing you a great rest of your day.